Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach. Going to take a look at the Pies in a moment, but before we do, how good is the cricket going? I think it's, well, they're just switching innings over. I've just ducked out to get some lunch, but Travis Head dominating. It's great to see a whopping start by us. Some people sort of talk about having a great contest against the Poms and going 5 close test matches. Gee, I'll smash them any day of the week. I'm happy. I'm working today later on, but then got the weekend off. Hopefully that'll be the final day of the test. Hopefully we just rip through them. A nice little Saturday, and Shorty can get on the Malibus Saturday night. So it should be a good day. But just before we get into the preview of the Pies, I thought first ball of the Ashes, I thought I've got to film. And I'm not really a massive one for, Snapchatting all these random ass moments. But I thought, first ball of the summer, I'm up and about, I'm pumped. So I actually filmed it. Did not think, it was just going to be a little boom, Ashes, first day, how good's this kind of deal. Little did I know Starkey was going to knock his castle over. So that was amazing. So I thought I'd just chuck it in there for you. A bit of a language warning. Shorty went off his nut, but I thought you get a little bit of a laugh out of it, and I found it quite amusing. Let's go, Starkey! Oh, I fucking bought it! Oh my God, Starkey! Holy motherfucker! So yeah, fair to say, did I get carried away? Maybe in some people's eyes, but it was a pretty amazing moment. I mean, you think of Ryan Harris, that ball when he bowled Cook, some of Mitch Johnson's deliveries, Mitchell Starks when he hit that crack and got James Vince out, and even from a Pommy point of view, you got Flint off against Ponting, and was he the one that clipped Langer, or was it Harmison when he started bleeding? So there's some famous balls in Ashes history, and Stark, that'll go down as one of them. So I'm just about, when I get back, I can't wait to see that first ball to Burns in the second innings. It's going to be a lot of pressure on him. But let's get into the Pies. Sorry for a bit of cricket talk. If you hate cricket, I know some people, you love it or you hate it. But look, it's up there with finals footy for me. I love the Ashes. So let's take a look at the Pies. I'm going to start with the lock, then work into a breakout, risk, and no chance for my side. And look, last time when I spoke about the Blues, I couldn't land on much. I couldn't find anything. But Collingwood, it all sort of came out pretty much clear cut, I suppose. Now, so the lock, I've got Brodie Grundy, 115 average last year. And I think that's a little bit unders for him. I think he's still in his absolute prime as a ruckman. Now, prior to that, he's averaged 120 and 130 and 130. Now, so those averages down from 130 were, of course, in COVID-related seasons, and by all reports, he's been a guy that's really struggled through that. He's really not liked and hasn't coped as well as some through those types of seasons, which is fair enough. So his form's dipped a touch, still averaging 115. So, look, I think that's a nice price for him, and he's just going to be a lock. I think a lot of people go Gawn and Grundy again. Grundy is even more appealing because he's a little bit younger as well. So I really like that. And look, got to throw in Nick Dacos as well. Fella commented the other day about he's still doing some rookies and stuff in this. So thanks for that, mate. It did sort of trigger my memory to make sure I'd take a look at some of the rookies. So I think Dacos is definitely a guy that might line up a little forward pocket, half forward flankish at times. But I'm sure he'll get plenty of time in the midfield as well, particularly with Pendlebury. He's going to have a delayed... He might be there for round one, but he certainly isn't a great pre-season at the minute. And Jack Crisp as well, mid-defender. You got to pay a bit for him. I think I talk about Grundy being 115, and that's maybe on the lower side of things for him. You'd think about a range of what they could average. 115, you feel like you actually get a little bit of value. Crisp, absolute jet, played a bit of midfield, but I feel like that 104.9, I think it was, probably about the top end of his range. So I'll be quite interested to just define his role. Will he keep playing a bit of midfield time? Will he go back to more pure half-back? How much youth are they going to give opportunity to in those positions? So just watch this space. Now, the breakout contender, I'm really excited about this one. I've mentioned him before in a video that I did, one of my first or second one about breakout contenders for next year, and that's Paddy Lipinski. I think he's going to find a great role at the Pies, and he's cheap as chips. Of course, we'll get the prices when SuperCoach Gold comes out and that type of thing, but averaged about 66, I think it was, which will put him in a nice position. I'm guessing he'll be available as a mid or a defender. I don't think he played much forward. I can't remember. He was so all over the place, and sometimes with these guys, it's hard to gauge what position SuperCoach will kind of give him. But either way, I think he's going to... It's not so much about what he's done, but it's what he's going to do, and I think he'll either play a nice distributing role off half-back. He's a smooth mover, nice deliverer of the ball. Otherwise, he might be up on a wing. I just think he's a bit of class for the Pies. I think he's searching for that opportunity, and I think he'll get it. And the risk, quite an interesting one. Again, I was looking at some comments, and I saw this fella mentioned a couple of times. So, Jeremy Howe. Now, of course, he averaged 120 off a small amount of games in 2020. And last year, I think it works out to, what have I got here? I'm barely reading my writing. 78.5, I think it is. But again, it was an injury-interrupted season last year, which just didn't quite have him finding his best form all the time. He returned pretty well and a couple of tons and that type of thing. Didn't finish the season outstandingly. But look, 2016 to 2018, he averaged between 91 and 94. So he's consistent. Look, he's in that risk category for a reason. I'm not glowing in my thoughts on him. I think he could be a nice option. I think he's limited in a way. Clearly, as it suggests, the body isn't maybe what we would hope in terms of durability the last few seasons. And I think probably a mid-90s is about as good as we're going to get. And at this early stage, I feel like the defence has quite a few options. I'm sort of thinking nice prices in terms of Whitfield, Sicily. I even think Jake Lloyd's got a bit of nice option about him. I like Luke Ryan. And there were a few that got some dual position action as well that don't quite come to mind at the minute. But yeah, I just think he's probably a no for me. But there will be some people that definitely contemplate him. And he does. He gets a lot of nice kicks and is obviously a good interceptor. So the sort of guy that, gets you 7 marks, couple of intercepts, 20 kicks, 3 handballs and scores 95. It's a pretty basic option. He'll have your quieter ones. He'll have your bigger ones. He'll almost always average, as it suggests, between 90 and 95. No chance from my side. This was a bit of a tough one because the Pies probably don't have a stack that you'd sort of, not, I guess, guys that have that potential, but you're sort of saying no to. That they're very much a developing unknown, a lot of these players and what they could do. But Steele Sidebottom, I put in this category. I just think a lot of us went with him last year and at times was okay and at times was definitely pushed out of that centre bounce and stoppage to promote some youth, which I think is what's going to happen. And watching Sidebottom, I really noticed that he seemed to have lost a yard in terms of pace. And just with that, his time and therefore ball use just dropped off a little bit. I think we think of Sidebottom and how silky he was and finding that time and space and cutting ways through in the angles. I just saw that little bit of a drop-off that you sort of see when a player does get to their twilight and sort of working their way towards what could be his final year. He could be about to retire, I'm not too sure. But I think the days of him being a guy we consider are done. Again, I'm waiting to see, will he get that forward status again? I don't know. I doubt it, but I just want to put him in there. He's been a great player for us over the journey and pretty handy highlights reel. I was watching that the other day. But yeah, if you've got any options that I didn't cover, please let me know. If there's any players that you think are great options that I've missed, or if you agree or disagree with what I've been going on about. So let me know. I'm going to duck back and I reckon they'll just about be starting. Hopefully I haven't missed the first cherry of the second dig, but I'll talk to you guys soon anyway. Cheers.